A very interesting day today in the stock market. Very unusual day. I will tell you that in my brief analysis. So, first is that today was the monthly expiry, the first one after the new CAS closing auction system was introduced on August 3rd by SEBI. On this day, you are forced to, on the stock, individual stock, any shorts and all that, have to be physical delivery has to happen this day. So that's number one. Number two, what happened was that the Brent price actually came down despite the Trump present threats to introduce economic sanctions. I've written a separate note, an article on that is on YouTube, Facebook. Please do read that. So as a result, Brent came down. So this was the second event development of the day. So what happened today? Well, what happened today is that a very unusual thing. FIIs bought 1,600 crores worth of stocks. DIIs bought only 230 crores. Let me repeat that number. 230 crores only. Despite the Brent coming down. And what about your needies? The needies also stayed away because the advanced decline ratio was roughly the same as yesterday. 1,400 stocks up, 1,680 stocks down. Okay, so naturally this reflected in the indices in what way? We saw that the micro cap and the small cap indices ended negative. Micro cap down 43 basis points, small cap about 10 basis points, whereas the Nifty and the mid cap were up almost 0.5%. So you can then easily draw a correlation saying FII buying pulled up Nifty and mid cap, and the DII lack of buying and the needies nervousness led to that. Okay, that's a very very overall understanding. But why did this FIIs buy and the DIIs not buy today? That's because it was not genuine FII buying. It was a short covering that they were forced to do today because of the auction expiry. So I've written the note. Please go through that on the CAS. And hence, now when you look at it, I've also got a new thing to tell you today. There's a new, not a new index, it just completed 1 year. A new index introduced on the Nifty, which all of you can start following because it's a very good clue as to FII behavior. Note down the name of this index. This is called the Nifty India FPI 150 Index. Name 150 means it has the 150 stocks. Which ones? The ones that FIIs generally invest in. It's got certain special rules in terms of, because it takes a foreigner free float market cap to compute the weightage. So I will be writing a separate note on this index alone over the next day or so. Please keep a watch for that. I'll post it in YouTube, post, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere. But that index then, to me, it's not that those stocks are bought only by FIIs. Any stock in that index, which is the top 150 stocks out of the Nifty 500, can also be bought by DIS or by needy, right? But it tells you what happened. And today, that index, where I told you the Nifty was up 0.5%, the small cap, mid cap index was 0.5%. This index was up 0.69%. So you can clearly see that the FII buying stroke, whatever short covering, reflected in the stocks in these, right? So very interesting. So I drilled a bit into the CAS analysis to see how much of the CAS cost is impact. And what happened was, before the 315 window under the new system, all the short covering has to be done, right? Because they are cash market transactions. So a lot of short covering happened in the last hour. And I will attach a graph where it shows the Nifty that there was a sharp spike in the last 1 hour. Now, of the last 1 hour, first is the cutoff time, 2:30 to 3:30 if you take as a time. 2:30 to 3:15 is the first cutoff for the cash market. And then the second is the CAS equilibrium, which comes in between 3:25 to 3:30, and the trades are pushed through. So how much of this and how much of that, when I did an analysis, again, that's there in the note that I've written, it shows that 60 to 65% of the bounce back in the Nifty after a fairly weak day was coming from the short covering from 2:30 to 3:15. And 30 to 35% came because of the equilibrium price action, and the derivatives later they rolled over to the September, whatever those. So this was the interesting thing. Apart from that, if you see the overall market being negative, actually shows today in the negative sectors only private bank was there, minus 20 basis points, that too. So no strong negatives, and most sectors were positive, led by healthcare today. Capital markets both were 1% up, consumer durables were up 1%, PSU banks were up 75 basis points, and consumption was also up about 70 basis points, and IT about 0.5%, auto about 0.5%. So broad-based today there was a reasonable buying, but it didn't show in the indices in a big way, except that, like I told you, 0.5% of the large cap and the mid cap. So very enjoyable day today in terms of analyzing the market, and like I said again, so I'd like to hear your feedback on this, and do read my note and then give a feedback in the comments to my post wherever. It'll be very good to now on, and from today I'm starting to leave a question with you and asking you to respond, because then it will help me to improve the quality of my daily broadcasts also, in terms of how you are perceiving it and what I do. Thank you very much and have a good day.